Men of Reddit, what is your story with your insane crazy GF? First real girlfriend told me she was pregnant 5 times. She wasn't. She also told me she was a German princess. Lasted about 6 months. I broke up with her due to the stress. My friend's GF. We were all watching a football game. One friend shows up that hasn't met her yet. He introduces himself. She punched him in the face as hard as she can. We were all shocked. She said, "I've heard a lot about you and I just felt like punching your face." Apostrophe. She keeps drinking and falls asleep on the couch. She woke up in the 3rd quarter. Turns to my buddy and says, "Take me home." Right now he says the game's on. I have company. I'll drive you home after the game. This starts her throwing a tantrum and he apologized to all of us and told us to stay and enjoy the game, but he's taking her home. An hour round trip. Later on she messaged me on Facebook and asked if I would apologize to everyone for her and ask them to give her another chance. She messaged me because since you're the leader I thought they would listen to you. When I was a teenager, I had a GF and for her day I decided to throw her a huge sweet 16th as a surprise. For about a week I was talking to her sister and her mom almost constantly trying to get everything organized. One night I am at home sleeping and she snuck in and tried to bite the head of my penis off because she thought I was cheating on her with her mom and sister. I now have scars of her teeth just under the head of my penis. My ex-girlfriend told me she was pregnant so that I wouldn't break up with her. We were in the 6th grade. I was a virgin. She would innocently tell me that if we broke up, she's tried to ruin my life like it was funny, among emotionally blackmailing me and putting me down all the time. That was the final straw. It was a long distance relationship for 2 years, but she visited me for 2 months about halfway through. She unironically wanted to have a heart-shaped coffin that we'd both fit in. We were both 16/17 at the time. She claimed we were together while talking to and involved with 6+ other guys, including her son's father. Got bored and left. Came back 9 months later. Made it seem like she changed. Pushed me and her son to be closer and I almost dropped out of school to get us our own place. She got bored again and left again. I'm completely and totally damaged goods and mentally destroyed. So I have keratoconus in both eyes. There is a treatment of that I had about 5 years ago. The surgery was all day long. I couldn't see out of my eyes for a few weeks and ended up getting an ear infection in that same time span. My ex decided to come over for a few days to help me get through the initial blindness. Turns out she wasn't there to comfort me. Actually, she wanted me to entertain her. She immediately got bored. I was still drugged, blind and having an ear infection, and eventually irritated that I couldn't entertain her. She spent the entire 2 days in the spare bedroom outside walking with her phone. It was also brought to my attention later that she was texting other guys while I was out of it. We ended up breaking up shortly after because distance was an issue. Mind you, we were a 45-minute drive at that point. Never made it to GF stage, but went out with a woman and on like the 2nd date, she started asking me very presumptive questions like, "Do you think your parents will like me? Where do you think we'll live? Would you still like me if I gained weight?" Then if I paused too long to answer a question, she'd start crying crocodile tears until I said something else that immediately perked her up. Afterwards, when I tried to subtly mention that I didn't think we were right for each other, she'd repeatedly text me until I just had to block her. Scared the hell out of me. Met her at work. She got my number from someone else and started texting me. Long story short, we hooked up and moved in together. She was going to school a couple days a week, an hour and a half drive away. She would go overnight and say she was staying at her parents'. I eventually came to find out that she was married, and when she would go for class she was staying at her husband's place. He had no idea she was living with me. It got really crazy for a while. She promised me she was divorcing him and that she would no longer stay with him. She pretended to be going through with the divorce but never really was. It didn't last. Dated a girl who'd point out and laugh at homeless people on the streets and call them losers. When I confronted her about it, she told me that every relationship needed to have an alpha and that I wasn't being alpha enough. So she had to step up. Apparently I was expected to bully and belittle others to prove myself to her. LMAO. I was stunned by her revelation and ended it with her that same day. She said her friends, a guy, mother had died in cancer and she wanted to stay the night because she didn't want to leave him alone in that state. Found out rather quickly that it was a complete lie. I gave her 1 week to get her shit and move out. Best decision of my life. This isn't a GF story, but my best friend has the craziest ficko mom divorce story. His parents tried to stay together for the kid thing that never works and they stayed together until he was 9 and later found out that his mom would constantly say things like, if we break up, I'll do whatever I can to get full custody and then I'll kill the kid, then myself, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. He got this recorded on audio that won him the court case and probably saved my best friend's life. And the day they split up they were living on a houseboat. Had a nasty fight where she ended up stabbing him with a kitchen knife in front of my friend. And then his dad swam to shore about 250 meters away, salt water with the knife in his back. And when he got there, cops were waiting since my friend's mom immediately called the cops saying he raped and assaulted her, then swam away. My friend rowed to shore with his rowboat just in time to beg the cops to not arrest his dad and try to tell his side of the story. He spent the night in a child victim safe house and went with his dad after he got released from holding and hasn't seen his mom since. Honestly, most of my girlfriends have been great and we almost always parted amicably. I did, however, one very briefly date a girl in another city about an hour away. I had to go outside my apartment to get cell service because it was some sort of black hole. And I was just pacing back and forth on the sidewalk as we chatted. It was the middle of a nice sunny day, so whatever. A girl passes me on the street and asks, "Excuse me, is this 15th Street?" And I quickly respond, "No, you've got to go 2 streets up." She thanks me and I go back to the conversation. The whole thing took maybe 5 seconds. The girl I'm seeing heard the whole thing over the phone. Normal. Since I'm not being sneaky about my helping people with directions, and asks, "Who was that?" "I don't know. Some girl who didn't know what street she was on. Apostrophe. Yay, you probably slept with her." And it wasn't a joke. It was an incredibly nasty tone. Like she'd just caught me flirting with a former friend with benefits or something. That moment honestly ended things. I could see she would be super jealous and crazy if I couldn't even give a passerby directions. So we chatted a bit more and then I broke things off shortly after. I did, however, once live with a girl roommate who stabbed a knife into my table because she thought I didn't wash a dish. Not really that crazy, but she got mad at me and left my graduation party early because I wasn't spending every second of it with her. Like all these other people are here for me too and they're giving me money for my graduation. You would think the least I could do is go around and talk to everyone. A while ago, I had this very needy girlfriend. With her, I could never do anything right. One day I'm too clingy. The next day I don't care enough. One day she wants to do something with me. The next day, I am too excited to do something. You would never know what was up with her. With all of this, you would think that she really cares about our relationship. Nope. She was cheating on me with 2 other guys. Yep, dumped her ass when I find out. TLDR. Cheated on by girl that was completely unpredictable. I dated a girl I knew from high school for about a week. I knew her as an acquaintance at best before then. She was hypersexual is the best way I could put it. When I was young, I say it was exciting, but her veracity often put us in really cringy situations. We got kicked out of the first and only restaurant we went to together. She got caught stuffing those thin hard breadsticks up her skit and trying to feed them to me. Then the biting. If you aren't into biting and you're with a biter, you ponder the motives as to why you're being bitten. Is she into causing pain with her teeth? Does she think I'm into that? Is she trying to leave evidence to prove she was there? A million things race through your mind. Other than OMG I love being bitten. I didn't bite back. It wasn't during sex. It was just a heavy makeout session. I had to break it off before putting my dick in crazy or cannibal.